Atreyu's back for round two. Good morning, YouTube. What's up, everybody? I hope you're safe and healthy and happy and doing okay. Right at the very start of my YouTube journey, I came across a running shoe brand called Atreyu Running Company. No, not the band, the running company. I just had to get my hands on these shoes. I wanted to give them a try so bad. So I reached out to Michael, the founder, on LinkedIn. Anyways, long story short, I got a pair of the shoes and I was pretty impressed. So now, fast forward to 2021, and Atreyu is back with their base model V2. I'm not gonna lie, it had been a while since I've run in an Atreyu shoe, but lucky for me, I did have a brand new pair of fresh V1s so that I could kind of compare and see how these two felt side by side. There are some differences here that I think make this base model just that much better. Let's get to the run footage so we can sit down and talk all about what's new in the Atreyu base model V2. My God, I'm a poet. So before we get started today, I do want to let you know that these shoes were provided to me by Atreyu. However, they're not going to see this video before you. They're not telling me a single thing to say, and all of my opinions, as always, are completely my own. So I'm not sure what this would weigh for a women's size 8. I have here a men's size 9, which is an equivalent to a women's 10.5 for Atreyu, and we're going to see how much it weighs. Got the scale right here. I just turned it on. Let's see. 6 ounces for a men's size 9, a woman's size 10.5. That is pretty damn light. I'm fairly certain that this still has a 6mm drop. And I'm gonna say for me, the base model V2 is true to size. I did have some issues with sizing in V1, but I think that they've corrected those problems because this truly does fit my foot like a glove. All right, so let's go down the line as per usual and start with the upper. So here in the base model V2, we have a lightweight breathable mesh once again. If you were a fan of the way that V1 felt, then you're gonna feel right at home here in V2. It is still extremely breathable and lightweight. In the midfoot, we do have a slight change here. It's still the same material, but if you look closely, there's a translucent or transparent, I'm not sure which one, little film of overlay around that midfoot area. I think it just provides a tad more structure than V1 did. The same thing goes for the heel counter. There is a translucent film over the heel to just give it a little bit more structure again. The differences of this upper really are pretty minimal. I do think what they did by providing just a tad more structure really does give this upper a little bit of oomph to it and a little more substance. But I also like how they didn't go overboard, because I think what so many runners enjoyed about the base model V1 is that it's minimal in all different ways, but in the upper especially, I think they realized, Atreyu, that it might have been just lacking a little bit of structure and a little bit of help there, so they didn't go overboard and added just enough. And to me, you're getting the same amount of breathability and the same amount of comfort as the previous version. In fact, I might argue that you're gonna get more breathability here, because in the tongue area, they added some perforations for breathability. I mean, one of the things I really like about this upper is the way that the tongue, which is very cushioned on the inside, just lays over the top of your foot. You're still gonna feel that, but you're also gonna get a little bit more breathability through that top of the foot there. And I think that's always a plus. So all in all, I have no complaints about this upper really. I think if you're a person who needs some support, then all around the shoe really isn't gonna be for you, because it is so neutral. There's really no support or a ton of structure in this upper. I mean, look at it. Which is great for some people and not great for others. But I was a fan of the simplicity of the V1's upper, and I'm a fan of this. I had no issues with hot spots, breathability, or irritation, and I think that what they did add to enhance this upper really did the trick. So now let's talk about this midsole, because this is different from V1. So V1 used just an EVA, an outsole grade EVA, which we'll get to, but an EVA nonetheless. Here we're still using EVA, but it is super critical. And what that means is that it's just gonna be a tad more soft, a little more forgiving, and have a little bit more energy return. There are no bells and whistles here. You just got a minimal piece of super critical EVA. Now it's funny, coming off of a marathon training cycle, I had been using a lot of shoes with a lot of cushion. I mean, the shoe that I wore for the marathon was probably like the most cushioned of them all. When it was time for me to get back into an Atreyu running shoe, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. When I first slipped it on my foot, I was like, this is super minimal. I think my feet are just gonna like break in this. But after my first mile in the shoe, I remembered how nice these really do feel, and how you really don't feel like it's incredibly minimal and uncomfortable. I think I said this when I was talking about V1 way back when, but the Atreyu brand and the base model really help you to remember that shoes don't have to have all these bells and whistles and crazy technologies to be good shoes. It kind of brings you back down to planet Earth a little bit and brings you to the basics of running. I just feel like I think less about the shoe and more about the run. So I wore this shoe for 5.1 miles 2 days ago, and then I wore the base model V1 today for 5.1 miles. While it's not a crazy difference in midsole compound, I do find version 2 to be way more forgiving, softer, and just a more comfortable ride. And that's not to say that version 1 wasn't comfortable, but after putting this on, I realized all of the things that could have been done differently for version 1 that they fixed and improved in version 2. When I was in this shoe, when I ran 5 miles, I did a progression run. So I started slower and then kind of cut back a little bit each mile. And it felt great going easy, and it felt really good going faster as well. And it's just because it is a feather. This thing is a feather. It is so light. Now, do I think that I could take this for a half marathon? Yeah, I think I probably could, but I don't think I would take this for a marathon distance, because I think it might just be a little too minimal for me personally. And I also do like to have a little bit more structure and cushion for longer miles. So for me, this probably stops at about a half marathon, but I have to tell you, I think this is really comfortable. I think a lot of people look at this shoe and say, absolutely not, no way in hell is that gonna work for me. But you'd be surprised, because I kind of felt the same before I got my hands on version 1. And I even felt kind of the same after not being in the shoe for a long time and putting version 2 on. And I proved myself wrong, and they proved me wrong each time. I think it feels very similar, buttery smooth, just like version 1 was, with just a little bit more enhancement here, kind of just like the upper, and I'm happy with it. Turning this shoe over, you're looking for rubber, right? But guess what? There's no rubber here. So here we have the supercritical EVA material, but with a little bit of texture for your tread pattern on the shoe. And this looks exactly how version 1 did. To be completely honest with you, I have not had any real issues with the outsole of Atreyu in version 1 or in the shoe yet. Everyone's major concern with this outsole is durability. And that's kind of the main concern about the shoe in general for a lot of people. Because when they look at this, they see a very, very basic upper, a very basic midsole, and barely an outsole. And do I see where they're coming from? Yeah, I do. I don't think that this is gonna be your most durable shoe that you could possibly get that's gonna give you like 500 plus miles. But I don't think that it's made to be that. I do think that this will kind of wear down a little bit more prematurely than some of your other more beefed up structured shoes. However, those shoes don't cost what this shoe costs. And that kind of leads me to the price of this shoe, which is $85. And I think for that price, you have a versatile shoe that can do a lot of different things for you. And may not last as long as some of the other shoes on the market, but it's a lot easier to go and pick up another pair of these. So if you're interested in picking up a pair of the Atreyu base model V2, you can do so at the link in the description of this video. These are not affiliated links with me. I'm not affiliated with Atreyu at all, but I just want you guys to maybe consider giving them a chance, seeing what they're all about if you haven't already. Atreyu stuck to their guns here, made a shoe that will feel like home for the people who loved version 1, and I think will entice new buyers who might have been skeptical of certain things in version 1 to try out version 2. Sometimes people just want to switch it up and wear a simple shoe, like me. Well, everyone, that concludes my first run impressions of the Atreyu base model V2. If you enjoyed this video, please like it down below and subscribe. And when you're done with all that, hit the notifications bell so you can find out every time I upload a new video. Ruby is upstairs. She does not care what I'm doing. I cannot get her down. I apologize. I have some more videos for you next week, but in the meantime, get out there, get on the grind, and don't forget to run like Heller. See you next time.